It's Sports Mashup number 10, double-digit range. How about that? We've entered double-digit range. Very exciting news. There's been a lot that has happened in the last few days, to say the least, really. I mean, I might have two rants in me for this episode. Really just destroying a couple things that I need to do, which we'll get into at some point. But we'll just start in the NBA with a quick one, which is LeBron. I mean, I like that he's going after the NBA by calling out the play-in tournament, but you're also being a complete hypocrite because he thought it was a great idea first, and now the Lakers are in danger of being in it. He thinks it's a bad idea, and whoever came up with it should be fired. I mean, what are we doing? What's the point?
Yeah. And now, what is it? He's hurt again?
He's hurt again, yeah. And then the Lakers have been horrible. I was afraid the Suns were going to have to play the Lakers if the Lakers got like the 6th seed. The Suns are going to get the 1 or the 2. It might happen at this point. I mean, I don't love that.
And then now, but the Lakers are also without Dennis Schroeder for the rest of the regular season due to health and safety protocols. For the second time this year, he's out without having a positive COVID test all year. So he's not happy with the league either.
The whole thing's a mess. I mean, I don't really know what's right and what's wrong at this point. I'm not as afraid of the Lakers, though, as I would have been a couple of weeks ago, I guess. They've been scuffling badly.
And then you got Steve Nash saying the Nets have a chemistry gap to make up.
You know what they have? They have a play some goddamn defense to make up. That's what they should do. How about they play some defense? I wasn't watching the game, but I saw some highlights. I mean, my God. Giannis shot a 3, and every single Nets player was, like, within the paint. Nobody even close to Giannis. It wasn't a transition 3 either. It was an offensive rebound into a 3, and there's not a Nets player within 15 feet of him. So how about you play some defense? And I love Steve Nash, one of my favorite NBA player of all time. He's the reason that I've been a fan of a horrible team for over a decade now. But, man, play some defense. And I'm sure, NBA coaches don't have all that much say in styles at this point anymore. So I don't really blame him, but the team should definitely play some defense if they're going to win anything because I like the Sixers and the Bucks a lot. So we'll see. But I guess we should transition in the NFL draft. I mean, it was, our mocks were worse than my mock was worse than I thought, I guess.
There was a lot more trades than either of us thought were going to happen.
Yeah, and I thought Mac Jones would go 3. We got fooled. The Trey Lance pick, it's a better fit for Shanahan long term, but it's a project, and I'm sure he's willing to take it on. But I think Mac Jones is a good fit for the Patriots.
Yeah, and they didn't have to do anything for it.
I also thought Fields would have been good there too. Now, every Bears fan has been excited about Fields. I think they should calm down a little bit. They should be excited. He's a good player, but you gave up your first-round pick next year. I wouldn't love that when they're probably, since everyone knows Rodgers is going to be back, probably the third best team.
I don't know if that's true. Neither do you.
We'll get my thoughts on that here momentarily, but I like the way that my team drafted. I mean, I know they probably went a little bit off the board for a corner. I would have liked Asante Samuel Jr. at 29, but Eric Stokes is really fast, and I think he'll be good there. And then outside of that,
what was your tweet right after they picked him? But can he cover?
Yeah, 4.240, but can he cover? I think he can, but I think it's going to take it a little bit because you look at what he did in college.
Then I saw a report of like who he covered in college that they only
Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy.
They only had so many catches, and the longest reception was only 23 yards.
Yeah, the only thing I really worry about for him with coverage is like I think he makes a lot of mistakes, but then he has to use that 4.240 speed to fix it on the fly, and I don't know if he can do that as effectively in the NFL. So we'll find out. I'm not a scout. I'm just saying that's kind of what I see. But it is what it is.
How many picks did you get right in the draft?
I think I got 5 in the first round. 5. I got the top 2 and number 4. And I can't remember the other 2.
You had to have 1, 2, 4, and 5, correct?
My draft on me. Yeah, I got 1, 2, 4, and 5. And then the other one that I got correct was Slater to the Chargers. That's it.
I had Penei Sewell correct at 7 to the Lions.
But I will say this. I had Tevin Jenkins at 20 to the Bears. He ended up going in the 30s to the Bears. So, close enough.
I had him that same pick.
And, of course, I picked the wrong linebacker or the wrong running back to go to the Steelers. ETN ended up going a little after that. Wait, did ETN go? No, he went at 25. So I had 23 and 24 for running backs. It ended up being 24 and 25, which I think Najee Harris, great fit for the Steelers. So good pick there. I'm surprised Terrace Marshall Jr. fell as far as he did.
I had a lot of the guys that I had in the first round that still got picked in the first round. They just got picks traded, and they just went to different teams.
I mean, J.C. Horn I had going 17th. He went 8th, first corner off the board.
I had him at 12.
Yeah, I mean, I had Elijah Vera Tucker going to a New York team. Pretty close.
Remember, I talked about I had either Waddle or Devontae Smith going at 6, and they ended up taking Waddle. But I didn't expect the Panthers to take a corner there after they went all defense last year, just signed A.J. Bouye, and then they took another corner.
I mean, they did start to go offense after that, so.
But Joe Horn was mad that his son didn't get that much coverage.
He's right. I mean, the national media loves to overblow these big stories, which is exactly what they've done. And it's hard to differentiate the facts or the accuracy with the BS. And there's a lot of BS with this Rodgers thing. And I don't know if you want to get into it now. I think we should get these other things out of the way first. Who did the Bucs take in the first round? They went Penn State, right?
No, they took Joe Tryon from Washington.
Yeah. I thought they took Jason Owe.
No, Owe went to the Ravens right before the Bucs pick.
Got it. All right.
But I had him going at number 30 to the Bills.
So let's get these other two NFL things out of the way before we get into the Rodgers thing.
Yeah, Casey Hayward signs yesterday with the Raiders.
Steal.
And the Broncos right tackle, Juwan James, who sat out last year or opted out last year, tears his Achilles tendon in a workout away from Broncos facility yesterday, who was also going to play this season, who the coaches were really high up on because he was looking good and everything.
I think that the reason he's not going to get paid either, apparently, and I think that's the Players Association's fault with basically, I think what Mitchell Schwartz, who is the Chiefs offensive tackle who got cut, he basically said the Players Association made players stay away from facilities to do workouts or something for something. I don't know the whole story, but I think it's the Players Association's fault why he's not getting paid. So I mean, I don't know. We'll have a schedule reveal next Wednesday. We'll probably do the episode before that, but we can still talk about the schedule the week after. I mean, it's so much time between now and the beginning of camps anyway. So
the reveal should be before we record, right?
I think they do it later in the night.
I don't know.
Like 7 o'clock. But all right. I mean, we could do this. I've had some public comments on this. This has been a very up and down subject for me. I've been on both sides. I think there's both in the right in some of these things, both in the wrong. As far as some of these,
what did they drafted him? One wide receiver?
I didn't care about that.
I'm just asking. Yeah, they drafted him one guy.
One first round guy or just one guy?
They drafted him one guy offensively.
This year, yeah. But they drafted a lot of offensive line. They drafted like 5 or 6 O-linemen in the last 2 years, which is the second best O-line in the league last year. So I think that some of these things are overblown. I don't really know why Rodgers is doing this to a team that's good. I feel like if people comparing this to the Carson Palmer thing with the Bengals are completely misinformed because Carson Palmer was on a horrible football team. The Packers have been second first, third, somewhere in the top 3 in the NFC for a long time, with the exception of like 2 seasons, one of which when he was hurt. And yes, he's the biggest reason why they're good. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, what else do you want? You have an all-pro wide receiver, an all-pro offensive tackle, a great running game. The Packers have tried to build defense around you. So this narrative, they've only drafted one offensive player in the first round in the last 10 years. Who cares? They drafted defense because that's what they need. So these people that are trying to defend Rodgers, but also say, hey, the Packers defense gave up 50 points in the playoff game. That's why he lost. Yeah. So why not try to build the defense? Because everyone blames defense every time he loses in the playoffs. So I don't get that. And there's a couple of these reports that are such BS, it's not even funny. First of all, I'm going to call out Trey Wingo, who's no longer at ESPN. I wonder why he's a freaking moron, tweeting out, the Packers told Aaron Rodgers they would trade him after the season ended. Are you kidding me? Do you really think that they told Rodgers they would trade him? Really? There's no way in hell that's true. No way. And the other thing that came out today about, Rodgers was comparing Brian Gutekunst to Packers GM to Jerry Krause. That didn't happen either. You know why? Because Bob McGinn, who reported that, is about the biggest sleazeball scumbag reporter possible from Green Bay. Nobody there respects him or likes him, so I don't believe a freaking word that comes out of his dumbass mouth. I mean, there's no way in hell that that's true. So you can exit that one out too. And you know how this is going to end? He's not going anywhere because he's not going to retire and give the Packers over $20 million back. I don't see that happening. If he does, whatever. If they trade him, he counts as $38 million against the cap next season without him on the team. So what is the incentive for them trading him just for him to count $38 million on the cap without him being on the team? There's no incentive there unless someone gives him like 7 first-round picks and players. I mean, there's no way. I don't see it happening. I think the most likely outcome, and I could be wrong here, I'm probably trying to be optimistic because if you're watching the video, you see what's behind me. But I think it's going to be he's going to not go to mini camps. He's going to act like he's not going to training camp. He'll probably show up at training camp, and that it's going to be pretty awkward, and he's going to be on the team. I just don't see any scenario where he's not on the team. They have no incentive to trade him.
I saw the Broncos. They released Jeff Driscoll to make room for him. That's I did see people making jokes about that, but why? Like, also, do you agree with me here? Like, why would he want to play for the Broncos? They're not even remotely as good as the Packers are right now, or the Raiders. Like, what are we doing? What were the 3 teams you said? The Broncos.
That can't be real either. I mean, there's no way.
No, but what were the 3 teams? The Broncos, the Raiders, and the
Giants or something? Or
I thought it was the Niners.
Well, the Niners that's never going to happen. The Packers would never trade him to the Niners. I don't think they're going to trade him in general. But I think there's faults on both ends here. I think there is. I think the Packers – now I think the whole thing that the Packers have disrespected and mistreated Aaron Rodgers is a little overblown. I think there is things that they've done that they probably shouldn't have done or maybe should have – like the Jordan Love thing, I probably would have informed him of that just because you look around the league in other situations. I think the Bucks kept Brady in the loop on drafting Trask and which, like, come on. That's just flexing. Like, also – you can't just give the quarterback all the power in the world to make decisions, which is basically what Tom Brady has for your team, which obviously works because he's willing to take pay cuts. So why wouldn't Aaron Rodgers take more of a pay cut to win? No, so I don't think he's blameless.
Trask is there because they don't have Gabbard anymore, and he's just there to learn.
Yeah, but the Bucs still told him that they were going to take him just to let him know, which, it's a different situation. But I just think that I don't really see very many scenarios where they trade him because why would they want that much money on the cap without him on the team? And they know that Jordan Love's not ready. So I think if he does come back, I think this will be his last year there. But, I'm kind of sick of all this reporting that people just believe. Like, it's such BS, some of this stuff. And then people just believe it, and everyone runs with it. The media runs with it. And also, like, why does the media get down on its knees to defend Rodgers in every way? And I love Aaron Rodgers, okay? I don't like Brett Favre very much. I still love Rodgers, and I always will. But, like, Jesus, do we have to defend him in every single way possible? I mean, chill out. And also, why doesn't he come out and say something? Everyone's speaking for him. Everyone's talking about these reports.
Brett Favre says he believes in his gut.
Oh, God, I hate Brett Favre.
He said he believes in his gut that Rodgers is gone.
I'm really worried about what Brett Favre's gut has to say. I mean, Jesus, I'm so sick of Brett Favre talking. I mean, seriously, shut the hell up. My God. But, I do think Rodgers will be on the team. We'll see if anything changes. And that's kind of my thought on it. I don't want to spend too much more time on it, so we can just go to college basketball, where my other college basketball team, or my main college basketball team, I should say, is just getting gutted here. I mean, Jesus. They're losing both of their top assistants likely to Kentucky, which, it's on one end it's an honor, and on the other end it's like, F you. These guys have been really good recruiters for Illinois. Hopefully no one goes with them. That's that. Iowa transfer C.J. Frederick going to Kentucky. Worst kept secret ever. I mean, everybody knew this was going to happen for over a month. I don't really understand how he fits in there. I did see that Nolan Hickman, who was a 5-star point guard coming in, did decommit from Kentucky. So maybe Frederick will be some sort of point guard for them. I don't know if he'll start or be off the bench. And then Illinois transfer guard Adam Miller goes to LSU, where he'll be a better fit and he'll be more on the ball. And
I thought he went to the draft.
No, he didn't even sniff the draft. He's 1 year away. I see other things on here.
Yeah, Oklahoma, they keep getting transfers. Now they're getting the Grove brothers.
Those guys were great in the tournament for Eastern Washington.
Yeah, one of them was the Big Sky Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And they also got Jordan Goldbar from Duke and Ethan Chargois from SMU. Michigan's Franz Wagner enters the draft. And Baylor gets transfer Dale Bonner from Fairmont State, who led Fairmont State in scoring assists and steals in each of his 2 seasons there. And they got James Akinjo from Arizona.
Baylor reload. Baylor's going to be good. They're not going to be as good, but they're going to be good. And I just want to say Oklahoma's really building something there because they're getting veteran guys. They're keeping some guys. I know they lost Brady Manick to North Carolina, but Porter Moser's going to have a pretty good team there year 1. So we'll see. And then Michigan, Wagner is going to be a first-round pick. I think he'll be close to the lottery. He's kind of like a perfect wing-type defender.
And that's his brother was Mo, right?
Yeah, Mo Wagner. He's on the Wizards or somewhere like that. He was in the Wizards. He might have been traded. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I think Oklahoma's going to be damn good. I think Wagner will be a first-round pick. So we'll see. Golf. What do we have in golf?
The Valspar Championship, the winner was Sam Burns. Won a $1.2 million purse.
He's a youngster, too.
Shot 17 under.
Youngster for golf, like younger, not younger than me, but 24 or whatever. I saw a tweet. That's the only reason I said it, but there you go.
And this weekend we got the Wells Fargo Championship. Defending champion Max Homa at Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte, North Carolina.
We'll have our picks for that coming up later. Let's get to the MLB as I always have to find a way to bring up Jacob deGrom, so we're going to do it again. He dodged the Cardinals with right lat inflammation, but he will avoid an IL stint. He'll probably pitch this weekend, but best pitcher in baseball dodging the Cardinals, who are a wagon. I probably just jinxed that. They're up 1-0 right now. The Mets, as we record this, in the front end of a stupid-ass 7-inning doubleheader. The 7-inning doubleheader, so dumb. But, yeah, so hopefully he's good. And did you see this? The Astros return to New York, return to the Bronx to take on the Yankees. They got booed. I heard chants of F. Altuve, all this stuff. I saw a guy got his inflatable trash can taken away by Yankees security. So Yankees fans, overreacting. I get that it's their first time back. They should do this. It's kind of funny. But it was also hilarious when Bregman hit a home run in the first inning while being booed. But the Yankees still won the game and destroyed Zach Greinke. So interesting stuff there. Do you have any thoughts?
No, it's over. You can't really do anything now.
Yeah. If the Yankees never win a World Series with the current core they have, they're going to blame the Astros, but it's like, I think the whole thing's a little overblown anyway. I don't like the Astros, but it is what it is. Then I only put this on there because it just happened before, right when I was writing up some stuff in the doc, but I've been calling for this. If you look at my Twitter, I've been calling for this for 3 or 4 years now. And I would be calling for it for a decade if I cared before. Keith Hernandez, 2021 St. Louis Cardinal Hall of Fame inductee. And it's great news because, he's one of the best defensive first baseman and probably the second or third best, I guess third or fourth best first baseman to play in the organization. 6 Gold Gloves, 2 All-Stars, won an MVP with the Cardinals and a World Series. The fact that he wasn't in until now is a disgrace, but I'm happy he's getting in. I've always been a big Keith Hernandez fan, despite not being old enough to watch him play. I'm still a huge fan. Obviously, he was on Seinfeld for a couple episodes, shout out. But this is long overdue. If you look at, I retweeted some of my tweets from 2018, 2019 saying Keith Hernandez should be in the Cardinal Hall of Fame. Finally happens. Good news. Better have happened by now. Now we get to the NHL where things have been absolutely insane.
I got my Cardinal bobbleheads out now.
Who's on there? Who's on the row?
I got Lou Brock, Yachty, and Orlando Cepeda. And then I got my 1967 World Series championship ring.
I mean, I think all those guys are in the Cardinal Hall of Fame, right? Well, Yachty's obviously going to be in there. I think Cepeda might be in.
I'm pretty sure Lou's in there.
Oh, yeah. So good news there with Keith Hernandez. And I have set up I got to set up some stuff in the works here. I'm going to have a new setup very soon for this show, but it's in the works. So it's in the process of being done, and you'll see very soon. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it'll be done soon. But the NHL, Tom Wilson, what a topic this is. I mean, I cannot believe he didn't get suspended. I can't believe it. And do I think people are somewhat overreacting to this? Yes. Do I think that he should have been suspended? Yes. I can't believe it. What do you think?
What did he get for the first thing when he speared the Bruins player?
When he hit Carlo in the head, basically, I think he got 7 games for that. He's also been suspended 5 times in his career. 5 times.
But no, he hit Carlo in the head, and then the next night he speared another Bruin.
I don't know. All I know is that he had a 7-game suspension this year.
But the Rangers came out with their statement.
I love this.
Saying that they were extremely disappointed that he wasn't suspended for his horrifying act of violence last night at the Garden. He is a repeat offender with a long history of these types of acts, and we find it shocking that the NHL and their Department of Player Safety failed to take the appropriate action and suspend him indefinitely. Wilson's dangerous and reckless action caused an injury to Artemi Panarin that will prevent him from playing again this season. We view this as a dereliction of duty by the NHL head of player safety, George Peros, and believe he is unfit to continue in his current role. Like the guy literally.
Round of applause for the Rangers.
Even if who was the guy who was laying on? Whatever Ranger it was that was on the ground?
Pavel Buchnevich.
Who happened to be on Wilson's stick. That does not say that Wilson has to punch him in the back of the head.
Yep. Because
the dude's laying on under a pile on a stick. So you push him in the back of the head, and then you do whatever you do to Panarin. Then now,
to be fair, Panarin did jump on his back, but Panarin shouldn't have to be the one that does that.
No, but now Panarin's can't play for the rest of the year.
Yep.
And Wilson gets nothing out of it.
Yeah.
No suspension at all.
You got a $5,000 fine for the Buchnevich thing. You didn't get anything for the Panarin thing. It's embarrassing. And I love the fact that the Rangers are basically calling for George Peros' job. Long overdue for a team to do this, and you better believe they're going to get a hefty fine. I mean, they might get fined like $1 million for that. Probably worth it. I mean, it's unreal to me. I do think people are overreacting, like saying that Tom Wilson should never play again. He's a very good player, but he's also a very dirty player with a history of being that. Like, if people think Brad Marchand's dirty, look at Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is much worse. I mean, he got a 20-game suspension for almost killing Oscar Sundqvist in a preseason game. I mean, it's unreal that he didn't get anything for this. Like, I think that someone without a history should get suspended for something like that.
Oh, it's when he speared Trent Frederick.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And here's the funny thing. Here's the crazy thing. Shane Gostisbehere got suspended 2 games for a boarding penalty last night. Like, we're suspending guys for that, but not for what Wilson did when Wilson's an extreme repeat offender. Like, show some balls. If you're the NHL player safety department or you're Bettman, show some stones. Suspend him. Send a message. He's been suspended 5 times. Unreal to me. It makes no sense. But then the Rangers fired their GM, Jeff Gorton, and their president of hockey ops, John Davidson, who apparently tried to distance themselves from the statement that was put out last night. They didn't like that. And then James Dolan was only going to fire Gorton, but then John Davidson, the president, stepped in and said, if he goes, I go, apparently. So crazy stuff. And apparently the Rangers are saying that they only fired them based on performance, quote unquote. How about we fired them because we have no sandpaper at all on our team to defend our star young players, and we don't give a shit that the star player just got ragdolled? Like, seriously? I mean, it's such a weak look for the Rangers management, and I think it's a good move to fire them. They did name Chris Drury, who's a former player, played for the Rangers, as the new GM and president of hockey ops. So I have to think David Quinn is going to get fired next, the head coach, I would assume. But the Rangers are a pure example that you still need toughness in the league. Like, I've heard people say this many times. The Rangers are like, ooh, that fun ice capades looking team. They're such skill in skating, but when they play an actual tough defensive team, they get destroyed. Look at their matchups against the Islanders this year. So crazy situation. Gonna have more of it to come eventually. But what a wild one that was. And I saw that Mark Messier was basically, selling himself out there like, hey, I could coach if you want me to. So let's see if they fire David Quinn and bring in Mark Messier as head coach. We'll find out. But Stanley Cup playoffs nearly set. And before we get to the NHL draft stuff, let's talk about the playoff clinchers.
Yeah, you got you already have Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, and then Blues clinched with a win over the Ducks, plus Coyotes over the Kings. The North, Toronto's already clinched, Edmonton clinched, and then you probably have Winnipeg and Montreal coming out. I don't know how it still has who was the bottom team in that?
Vancouver? Calgary?
No, there's one team who was the team who got like the COVID cases?
Vancouver.
Yeah, it's still them, but they were so many games behind. Like, they're not going to make up all those games. It still hasn't eliminated them, but they've only got 41 points. But if they've eliminated Ottawa, who's got 45 points.
How many games has Vancouver played?
47.
Yeah, they got way more games left than everybody else.
They're going to make them play all those?
I would think so, yeah. How many points? Who's in the 4 spot in that right now?
Montreal.
How many points do they have?
They're tied with Winnipeg at 57.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point in Vancouver not being eliminated? I don't know. It's interesting.
And Calgary's in 5th with 47.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much – I think the playoffs are pretty much set. You got to think Nashville probably gets that 4 spot in the Central. Plus you have the East set.
Yeah, and we just don't know what the order is going to be in the East because Washington's only up 2 points on Boston. Boston's only up 1 on the Islanders.
Yep.
The Central, Nashville's up 4 on Dallas. But then the top 3 are definitely set. They're just Florida's only 2 points up on Tampa. But Carolina's up 4 on Florida.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the Connor McDavid 100-point watch, my, oh my, he might just do it, folks. He's at 93. He needs 7 points with 5 games left. 7 points, 5 games doesn't seem that hard for him because if you look at his last 5 games and how many points he scored, he has scored 12 points in the last 5 games. So it's looking possible. He needs 7 points in the last 5 games to get 100 points in a 56-game season. I tweeted yesterday because I know a lot of people say, well, he's in a weak division. Yes, that's true. Basically my tweet was Connor McDavid 100 points in a 56-game season impressive? Yes. Austin Matthews having 40-plus goals in a 56-game season, impressive? Yes. This North Division still not very good when it comes to defensive goaltending? Yes. All of those things can be true. So thank you very much, folks.
What about if Marshy gets 40 assists?
I mean, I guess it's impressive, but then you look at the other guys in the league. It's like Draisaitl has a ton of assists. McDavid has like 7 million assists. I mean, he is in a good division, so you got to give him that, definitely. I mean, Kane has 49, Marner has 46, McKinnon has 45, Fox and Panarin both have over 40, Huberdeau has 40, Crosby 37, Stone 38, Backstrom 37, Marchand 36. But to do it in the East and the Central, I would say are very impressive because like the West is all right, but it's pretty mediocre on the back end of it, and the North is very mediocre on the back end of it.
He's got 36 in how many games?
36 in 50 games.
So he hasn't even played in every game.
We'll see. So just want to talk about the draft real quick. The draft is going to be, I think, in July. So that should be interesting. I think it's after the expansion draft with the dates in terms of how that's going to go. You look at some of the players coming out this year. You got some very good players coming out. Owen Power is going to be a great defender out of this draft. Matthew Beniers, you got a lot of college guys that are going to be really good. So I think this will be much more U.S. heavy in the first round than it was last year. I mean, the 2019, you can't really match. You had a ton of top 15 U.S. players. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll cover that as we get closer. Maybe we'll even get a guest. I know a lot of NHL draft people we can have on, but we'll see. Let's go to collegiate football, which we have a section for now because we're getting closer to that.
Yeah, I mean, we only have one thing on it, but
Big news.
You got Ohio State's wide receiver Jamison Williams announced Monday that he plans on transferring to Alabama his junior year.
In other news, Alabama is going to be loaded again. Shocker. Their offensive line, I mean, holy crap. I think their offensive line has like some of the top players at every single position.
And they just lost, 4 of their linemen?
Dickerson, the one dude who's enormous, Leatherwood. It's what's his name? Deontay Brown's one who's enormous. Leatherwood, so that's at least 3. There's got to be another one in there. So yeah, they're going to be good. Plus Bryce Young looks like he's going to be a pretty good quarterback there. So the Alabama is going to be very good again. And
who was the next running back up?
Oh,
who was Najee Harris's backup?
I can't remember. I know if I looked it up, I would know the name.
What receivers are left? They lost Waddle and.
Well, they got Jamison Williams.
Yeah. And then the transferring thing, was that only a basketball thing or is that also a football thing?
I don't know.
Does he have to sit out a year?
I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like transferring is kind of like free game at this point for anything. I don't know. A little wild to me. Let me see if I can find Alabama's football roster here.
They lost Smith and Waddle.
Let me see here. All right, let's see. Brian Robinson Jr. is the next running back up. He's a stud. They also have Keelan Robinson. Yeah, Brian Robinson Jr. is damn good. So they're not going to skip that much of a beat with him. Trey Sanders is also very good, a redshirt sophomore running back. He'll be good. Christian Harris, we already know how good he is. They have John Mechie, the third, who was a really good wide receiver for them last year. He'll be there. He'll be one of the top guys. They got Jordan Battle, great DB there. Bryce Young, like I said, sophomore quarterback, going to be a stud. Let's see here. Slade Bolden is a nice receiver for them, kind of like an Edelman type. LeBron Ray, good defensive lineman. Jace McClellan, another running back who's good. So they'll be good. Wouldn't worry too much about Alabama's Josh Jobe, another great DB there. So there you go. Alabama's going to be good. All right, let's get into the betting picks of the week.
What'd you go last week?
I went 0-2 in the NBA, 2-0 in the NHL, 2-2 in baseball, and then I went had a golfer tied for 13, Justin Thomas, 5th place, Abraham Answer, and then Kisner and Rose were cut. So, overall, 4-4.
I went 2-0 in hockey, 2-0 in the NBA, and 2-2 in baseball. So I was 6-2.
Should we tally up our total records after this week going into next week to see what we have through the first 10 episodes?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. We need to write that down. We need to do that. All right. Well, let's start Wells Fargo Championship. 4 golfers. Go ahead.
I have Bryson DeChambeau plus 1,300. I have Xander Schaff. How do you say his last name? Schauffele at plus 1,700. Patrick Cantlay at plus 3,000. And Max Homa at plus 3,500, the defending champion.
All right. I have DeChambeau at plus 1,350. I have Shane Lowry at plus 6,000. I have Tommy Fleetwood at plus 7,000 and Charles Schwartzel at plus 15,000 with a big-time long shot there. So don't feel great about it, but maybe I do something with it and I end up doing well. But we'll see, won't we?
What do you got for baseball tomorrow?
Baseball, you say? That's a loaded question there because there's a lot of baseball that we pick. We pick 4 games. I'm taking the Yankees over the Astros, minus 188. Red Sox over the Tigers, minus 208. Cardinals over the Mets, plus 102. Braves over the Nationals, minus 101. Bada bing, bada boom.
We got 2 of the same games. I got Milwaukee minus 114 over Philly. St. Louis plus 109 over the Mets. Atlanta plus 105 over Washington. And Arizona plus 122 over Miami.
I'm good for a 2-2 every week in baseball. So we'll see if I can go 2-2 again. That would be exciting for me. All right, NHL, I'll just give you mine. I got the Penguins minus 1.5 against the Sabres, and then I have the Rangers plus 1.5 against the Bruins.
I knew you were going to take that bet at the Penguins game.
I mean, I had to.
And then you took the Rangers?
I think they're going to, rally up a little bit here.
They just lost their head honchos and their best player.
They're going to rally the troops, the whole thing,
You took the spread on that, right?
Plus 1.5.
Because I took Boston minus 1.5.
I feel good about
over the Rangers, and I took Carolina minus 1.5 over Chicago.
All right. By the way, John Means, Orioles pitcher, just threw what we in the business would call a no-hitter over the Mariners in a 6-0 win. So another no-hitter in Major League Baseball.
Through 9?
Means. What?
Through 9?
Yep, no-hitter. Almost a perfect game, I think, but there you go. All right. Let's do NBA. I got the Thunder plus 14 against the Warriors and the Clippers minus 7 against the Lakers.
I got Washington plus 1.5 over Toronto and Charlotte plus 2.5 over Chicago.
Charlotte has been horrendous. You better hope they pick their play up. We'll find out.
They got LaMelo back.
He is back. I didn't think he'd come back, but he's back playing relevant basketball. I guess they might make the playoffs, right? I don't know. We'll see. But we're getting closer and closer to Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, I guess is what they're called. So we'll talk more about that. All kinds of stuff coming up next week, number 11, and we'll see you next Wednesday.